This is your CMRU.ca sports news. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christian Mazzoni.
And I'm Corbin Smith. Today's top stories include recaps on the Crowchild Classic and ticket sales.
Later, Mariah Bouvier brings us to MRU sports highlights.
Find out why there's a lack of fans supporting certain sports here at MRU.
And we'll take a look at the future of teams in the fast-approaching Canada West playoffs.
Fans gathered together to watch the Crowchild Classic at the Saddle Dome recently. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way the Cougars wanted. Here's Jordan Lee with more.
On January 29th, the MRU Cougars took on the UFC Dinos here at the Saddle Dome. The MRU's men's and women's hockey teams fell short in one of the biggest events in U Sports regular season.
Now let's get into some of the highlights. Early in the women's game, Rachel Paul of the Dinos was tripped on a breakaway, still getting the shot on net. This leads to a penalty shot for the Dinos. Sadly, Paul missed the net but came back soon after to put the first goal up on the board in the second period. This is what she had to say about her missed shot.
I guess I felt like I needed to redeem myself after that penalty shot, so Sage gave me a great pass off the draw, and then she drove the net, which was exactly what she needed to do, and the goalie cheated towards her, and so I just shot it and hoped for the best. Anna
Perschke scored right off the face-off in the start of the third period. This made it an even contest at 1 goal a team.
Anna Perschke, I believe, took the shot.
And with the clock dying down, the UFC Dinos regain the lead as the puck bounces off the backboards and Taylor Beck puts it home for the winning goal of this game. MRU loses 2-1. MRU's men's team looking to break their losing streak. Their past 3 games at the Saddle Dome have ended with a loss to the Dinos. MRU struck first, though, with Connor Rankins scoring the first goal of the game. Going into the third period, the UFC Dinos waste no time in tying this game up. Chris Ruckman's shot finally makes it past Riley Morris for the Dinos' first goal. Riley Morris ended up having 31 stops for the night and made some acrobatic saves while doing it. While on the power play with 4 seconds left, number 19, Riley Sheen, becomes the Dinos' hero by scoring the game winner. And MRU sadly loses their 4th straight game in the Saddle Dome, 2-1.
MRU is closing out their season with a home-and-home series against the Lethbridge Pronghorns this weekend. Jordan Lee, CMRU.ca News.
The Crowchild Classic came with a price this year. Instead of being free, the Hawker game cost $5. Some students are puzzled as to why the sudden change. Robert Lindgren explains.
The Crowchild Classic has become a tradition for Calgary for the past 6 years. This year, however, tickets are $5 each. Students from Mount Royal University and the University of Calgary usually get in free, but the 2 schools agreed the profits could go to use. Rebecca Schmidt, a student from Mount Royal, says there is no problem with the price increase, but would like to know why it was implemented.
I mean, I don't mind paying $5 for the tickets, but it's nice to know where it's going, and they don't advertise it on the poster, which is kind of frustrating.
Schmidt suggests that they add information on the posters to help students better understand where the money is going. Katia Soderman, one of the managers from Cougar Athletics and Recreation, says there are multiple factors to why they are charging students this year.
You get to experience the Saddle Dome from a general admission perspective. Your ticket gets you a seat anywhere in the house that you're choosing, first come, first serve, of course, and you get to watch university hockey with the Flames experience.
Mariah Bouvier joins us now with Cougars highlights. Mariah, the men's volleyball team was on a roll this weekend. Tell us a little bit about what happened there.
That's right, Corbin. In case you missed it, here's your Cougar highlights. Men's volleyball fell last weekend 3-0 to the Trinity Western Spartans, breaking their 6-game streak on Friday, and couldn't pull it together for the Saturday game, falling again with the same score. The Cougars play the University of Calgary Dinos tonight at 8 p.m. at MRU. Women's volleyball suffered the same fate, losing the Trinity Western 3-1 Friday and 3-0 Saturday. The women's team also play the Dinos tonight at 6 p.m. and tomorrow at 7 p.m. Both the men and women will look to string together some wins to secure their spot in the playoffs. On to weekly awards for student athletes. Congrats to the Under Armour and Player Bench Athletes of the Week, Charity Marlatt from women's basketball, and Matthew Guinto from men's basketball. Marlatt led her team Friday night with 16 points and 9 rebounds, forcing the game into overtime, then followed it up Saturday with 14 rebounds. She led the category for both teams throughout the weekend. Matthew Guinto from the men's basketball had a team-high 16 points Friday, but this came at the cost of a sprained ankle and finger. Despite his injuries, Guinto put up 17 points on Saturday, which secured the 99-94 win for Mount Royal. Congrats to both athletes. Tonight, the men's basketball team takes on Regina in the Battle of the Cougars at 6 p.m., and the men's ice hockey will play Lethbridge tonight at 7 p.m. at home. The women's hockey team plays Lethbridge tonight as well, and that game gets going at 7 p.m. Earlier, we heard about the ticket prices for the Crowchild Classic. The hockey team had a lot of support when they faced off against U of C. But what about the support for other varsity teams? Evan McCatchek answers that question.
Student life revolves around few things like school, work, and sleep. While they do have a fandom for the Cougars on campus, the support from students for sports teams could be higher. The number of student attendees at games has been growing over the past couple of years, though not to the expected level. Public exposure like the rebranding of the bookstore to the Cougar store and Cougar-themed clothing doesn't seem to be enough. However, there's speculation that having more Cougar-oriented events may help with the rise of student attendance. But that's not to say there isn't any support, as Cougars hockey forward Megan Carver states.
It's definitely a huge thing to Crowchild Classic. We play in the Saddle Dome, so there's definitely a lot more hype just around that. But we've had so much support from like all our fans and everyone that comes out. So
the biggest reason for the attendance booms are for events like the Crowchild Classic, or when playing against rivals like the University of Calgary. MRU coaches report that some of the main supporters for Cougars at the games are the team supporting each other. Friends or families coming to watch, or all-round community support, making up for the lack of students. Evan McCatchek, CMRU.ca News.
I'm Mariah Bouvier. That was your Cougars highlight. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Mariah. In NFL news, Super Bowl 53 took place last weekend in Atlanta. The final score was 13-3 in favor of the New England Patriots over the Los Angeles Rams. Wide receiver Julian Edelman took home the honor of Super Bowl MVP with an average of 14 yards through 10 carries. Tom Brady wins his 6th Super Bowl in 9 career appearances.
Big milestone there for Tom Brady. Congratulations. The NBA trade deadline was at 3 p.m. yesterday. Grizzlies star big man Marc Gasol is heading to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for Jonas Valanciunas, CJ Miles, and DeLon Wright.
And another big trade that happened over the week was the trade of Kristaps Porzingis to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and picks. Porzingis is unlikely to play this season, though, as he is recovering from an ACL injury that was sustained in the 2018 season.
The Calgary Flames fell to the San Jose Sharks last night 5-2. Flames goaltender David Riddick was pulled midway through the first period after letting in a pair of easy goals. The Flames are taking on the Vancouver Canucks this Saturday.
And elsewhere in Canadian hockey, there's still no news on Toronto Maple Leafs forward Mitch Marner. Marner had previously said that he wants to wait until the end of the season to negotiate his contract. His agent came out and said that the club has been lowballing them on offers.
The Canada West hockey playoffs are less than 1 week away. As Keegan Bartram tells us, the Mount Royal University hockey team still has some work to do before the tournament.
The Mount Royal University Cougars hockey teams are heading back to the playoffs.
With only one weekend left in the regular season, both teams still have a giant opportunity left in terms of final positioning.
For the men, the chance to play a first-round matchup at home is still up for grabs.
Oh, it's huge. I think, just from a morale standpoint, we've lost the last 6 in a row to some pretty good teams, and I mean, to get a sweep this weekend just would add some confidence to the boys heading into playoffs.
One win and a British Columbia loss to Regina would all but secure that spot for the Cougars. But MRU is focused on getting the job done themselves.
I think just hope that someone else is going to get it done for you is a terrible mentality going into playoffs. We want to get home ice ourselves. We want to be able to clinch that with 2 big wins over Lethbridge.
Taking a look at the other side, the ladies, although not playing for a chance at a home series, still looking to finish off the season strong.
It's still a big couple points for us. If we get the 2 wins, we'll actually be able to move up and get 5th place, which we've never actually been able to do. We always kind of finish in that 6th spot.
A series win would be a first for the women's program and make it that much more special for the graduating players.
those girls, especially our fifth years, they've worked so hard for this. I mean, they are a huge part of our team, and it would be a really big deal if this team especially could get our first kind of Canada West championship out of it. So it'd be really exciting.
Both teams will close out the regular season with a weekend home-and-home series with the Lethbridge Pronghorns. The men slated for a 7 o'clock puck drop from Flames Community Arena on Friday, while the women will close it out with a 6 p.m. puck drop on Saturday. Keegan Bartram, CMRU.ca News.
Well, that is our time for today on CMRU.ca Sports. Thank you again for joining us. Once again, I'm Corbin.
And I'm Christian. Stay warm, Calgary.